What if everything you were taught about success was wrong? What if the relentless drive to do more, be more, hustle more was actually the very thing holding you back? Today, I want to talk to you about something that most productivity gurus will never tell you, because it goes against everything our culture celebrates. It goes against the 5 a.m. wake-up calls, the 80-hour work weeks, the sleep when you're dead mentality. What I'm about to share with you is simple, but simple doesn't mean easy. And if you stay with me through this entire audiobook, I promise you, the way you see your time, your energy, and your potential will never be the same again. Chapter 1. The lie we were sold. From the time we were children, we were taught one fundamental truth about success. Work hard, do more, never stop. We watched our parents exhaust themselves. We saw CEOs brag about sleeping 4 hours a night. We scrolled through social media and saw people juggling 10 projects, 3 side hustles, and a gym routine, all before 7 a.m. And somewhere deep inside, we believed it. We believed that the busiest person in the room was the most important person in the room. We believed that rest was laziness wearing a disguise. We believed that if we weren't grinding, we were falling behind. But here's a question nobody asked us. Falling behind whom? Think about that for a moment. You have been in a race your entire life. You have been running as fast as you can. You have been sacrificing sleep, relationships, health, and joy, all to win. But nobody ever stopped to ask you, do you even want the prize at the finish line? This is the lie we were sold, that busyness equals progress, that more action equals more results, that a full calendar means a full life. It doesn't. The science of stillness. In 1926, a man named Henry Ford made a decision that shocked the business world. He reduced his factory workers from a 6-day work week to a 5-day work week. Everyone predicted disaster, less work, less output. Simple math, right? What actually happened? Productivity went up. Workers who were rested made fewer mistakes. They thought more clearly. They solved problems faster. They cared more about what they were doing. Henry Ford didn't discover this by accident. He studied it. He tested it. And what he found was simple. The human mind is not designed for endless output. It is designed for cycles. Effort and recovery, push and rest, doing and being. Decades later, researchers at Harvard Medical School confirmed something remarkable. The brain does its most important work not when you are actively thinking, but in periods of quiet and rest. When you stop forcing your mind to produce, it begins to process. It connects dots you didn't even know were disconnected. It finds solutions to problems you've been staring at for weeks. This is why your best ideas come in the shower, not in the meeting, not at your desk, not while you're staring at your phone at midnight. In the shower, on a walk, in the silence between tasks. Your brain is not lazy when it rests. It is working harder than you know. Chapter 2. The cost of constant doing. Let me tell you about a woman named Sarah. She was brilliant, driven, ambitious. By age 32, she had built a successful marketing company, managed a team of 15 people, and was pulling in more money than she had ever dreamed of as a kid growing up in Ohio. From the outside, she had everything. From the inside, she was empty. She told me, and I'll never forget this, she said, I was so busy building the life I thought I wanted that I forgot to actually live it. Sarah hadn't taken a vacation in 4 years. She had missed her best friend's wedding. She hadn't cooked a meal for herself in months. She couldn't remember the last time she laughed, truly laughed, until her stomach hurt. She was productive, wildly productive, and she was miserable. What Sarah experienced has a clinical name now. Researchers call it productivity addiction. It is the compulsive need to always be doing something because stillness feels dangerous, because rest feels like failure, because the moment you stop moving, you have to sit with yourself. And for many of us, that is the scariest place of all. The paradox of less. Here is the paradox that took me years to understand. The less you do, the more you become. Not less work, less wasted work. Not less effort, less scattered effort. There is a concept in Japanese culture called ma. It is the practice of intentional space. It is the pause between notes that makes music beautiful, the silence between words that gives a sentence power, the empty space in a painting that draws your eye exactly where it needs to go. Ma is not emptiness, it is purposeful space. When you remove the unnecessary, the essential becomes powerful. Think of the greatest athletes you've ever watched, the ones who make it look effortless, the ones who seem to move slower than everyone else, and yet always arrive first. They are not doing more. They are doing exactly what needs to be done. Nothing more, nothing less. This is the silent power of doing less. Closing of segment 1. I want you to think about your own life right now. How much of what fills your days is truly essential? How much of your busyness is actually progress, and how much is just noise? How many tasks on your to-do list are things you genuinely chose, and how many are things you said yes to because you were afraid to say no? These are not comfortable questions, but they are the questions that change everything. In our next segment, we're going to go deeper. We're going to talk about the art of subtraction and how removing the right things from your life will create more success than any amount of adding ever could. We're going to talk about the one decision that the most effective people in the world make every morning, and it has nothing to do with waking up at 5 a.m. Stay with me, because the best part is just beginning.
Welcome back. If you've been listening since the beginning, I want you to know something. The fact that you're still here tells me something important about you. You are someone who is willing to question what you've been told, and that is exactly the kind of person who changes their life. In our first segment, we talked about the lie that busyness equals success, that more action equals more results. Now, I want to talk about the solution, and the solution is not what you think. Chapter 3: The Art of Subtraction. Most people, when they want to improve their lives, ask one question: what should I add? What new habit should I start? What new skill should I learn? What new strategy should I try? We are obsessed with addition. More routines, more goals, more tools, more apps, more courses. But the most successful people I have ever studied, the ones who seem to accomplish more while working less, they ask a completely different question. They ask, what should I remove? This is the art of subtraction, and it is one of the most powerful and most overlooked skills in the world. The closet principle. Imagine your closet is completely full. Every inch is packed. Shirts crammed together, shoes piled on top of each other, old clothes you haven't worn in 5 years, taking up space that could hold something you actually love. Now, imagine someone gives you a beautiful new jacket, something perfect, something that fits you exactly who you are today. But your closet is full. There is nowhere to put it. So you hang it on a chair. It gets wrinkled. It gets forgotten. It never becomes what it was meant to be because there was no space to receive it. Your life works exactly the same way. When your days are packed with commitments you never wanted, habits that drain you, relationships that exhaust you, and tasks that mean nothing, there is no room for the things that could transform you. The art of subtraction is not about doing less because you are lazy. It is about creating space for what is truly important. It is about being ruthlessly honest about what belongs in your life and what is simply occupying space that something better deserves. The Warren Buffett Method. Warren Buffett is one of the most successful investors in history, and one of his most famous pieces of advice has nothing to do with money. He calls it the 25-5 rule. Here's how it works. Write down the 25 most important goals in your life. Take your time. Be honest. Write down everything you want to achieve, experience, or become. Now, look at that list and circle the top 5, the 5 that matter most, the 5 that if you accomplished them would make everything else feel worthwhile. Now, here's the part that surprises people. Buffett says the remaining 20 goals, the ones you did not circle, are your avoid at all costs list. Not your get to it later list, not your someday list, your avoid at all costs list. Because those 20 goals are not harmless, they are not neutral, they are dangerous, precisely because they are interesting enough to distract you, but not important enough to fulfill you. They will steal your time, they will scatter your focus, they will keep you busy without moving you forward. The enemy of your best life is not failure, it is distraction dressed up as opportunity. Chapter 4. The Morning Decision. I promised you in segment 1 that I would tell you about the one decision the most effective people in the world make every morning. Here it is. Every morning, before they check their phone, before they open their email, before they look at anyone else's agenda for them, they ask themselves one question. What is the one thing I can do today that if I did it would make everything else easier or unnecessary? Just one thing, not 10, not 5, not a list. One. This question comes from a concept called the one thing. The idea that extraordinary results are built not by doing everything, but by finding the single most important action and protecting it with everything you have. Most people start their mornings reacting. Phone notifications, emails, news, other people's emergencies. Within 20 minutes of waking up, they have already let the world write the agenda for their day. And then they wonder why at 10 p.m. they feel exhausted, but also like they accomplished nothing that truly mattered. The most effective people do the opposite. They decide before the noise begins what their one priority is, and then they protect that priority like their future depends on it, because it does. The surgeon and the chef. I want you to think about the difference between a surgeon and a chef. A chef in a busy kitchen is doing many things at once, monitoring 4 pans, calling out orders, adjusting seasoning, managing a team. Multitasking is part of the job. Now imagine your surgeon in the middle of your operation, checking their phone, chatting with a nurse about dinner plans, half paying attention to what their hands are doing. Terrifying, right? Because for a surgeon, the cost of divided attention is not a burnt sauce, it is a life. Here's the truth. The work that matters most in your life deserves surgeon-level focus. Your relationships, your health, your most important creative work, your deepest goals. These things deserve your complete, undivided, fully present attention, not the scattered, distracted, half-present version of you that our modern world has trained you to become. The art of doing less is really the art of being fully present for the things that matter. One task, one conversation, one decision at a time. The permission you've been waiting for. I want to say something now that I think many of you need to hear. You have permission to slow down. You have permission to say no. You have permission to let some emails go unanswered, to cancel the commitment you made out of guilt, not genuine desire. You have permission to choose depth over volume, to do 3 things beautifully instead of 30 things carelessly. Our culture will tell you that this is selfish, that this is irresponsible, that other people need you to be available, responsive, and constantly producing. But here is what I know to be true. A person who is rested, focused, and deeply intentional about their time gives far more to the world than a person who is burnt out, scattered, and running on empty. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And right now, many of you are not just empty, you have been empty for so long that you've forgotten what it felt like to be full. Closing of segment 2. In our final segment, we're going to bring everything together. We're going to talk about how to actually build this into your real life, not as a theory, not as a philosophy, but as a daily practice that will quietly and permanently change the way you live. We are going to talk about the 3 promises you need to make to yourself, the 1 habit that takes less than 5 minutes but creates more clarity than anything else you could do, and the simple truth about doing less, choosing less, being less might be the most courageous decision you ever make. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome to the final chapter. You have stayed with me through the lie we were sold, through the art of subtraction, through the morning decision that changes everything. And now, I want to give you something real, something you can carry out of this audiobook and into your actual life, today, this week, starting right now. Because information without action is just entertainment. And you didn't come here to be entertained. You came here because something in you is ready to change. Chapter 5. The 3 Promises. I want to share with you 3 promises, not goals, not tasks, not items on a checklist. Promises. Because a goal is something you aim for. A promise is something you honor. And the relationship you have with yourself, the way you treat your own time, your own energy, your own potential, deserves to be honored. Promise 1. I will protect my best hours. Every single human being on this planet has a time of day when they are at their absolute best. For some people, it is early morning. The mind is sharp. The world is quiet. The ideas come easily. For others, it is late at night, when the house is still and the pressure of the day has released. For others still, it is mid-morning, after coffee, after movement, after the fog of sleep has fully lifted. You know your time. Deep down, you already know when you are most alive, most creative, most capable. The first promise is this: Protect that time like it is sacred, because it is. Do not give your best hours to your inbox. Do not waste them in meetings that could have been emails. Do not spend them scrolling through a phone, feeding someone else's algorithm with your most precious mental energy. Your best hours belong to your most important work. Guard them, schedule around them, explain them to the people in your life. Because here is the truth. Most of the world will try to fill your calendar before you do. Your boss, your colleagues, your family, your phone. If you do not claim your best hours first, someone else will claim them for you, and they will not use them to build your dreams. Promise 2. I will say no more than I say yes. This one is hard. I know it is. We live in a culture that rewards availability, that celebrates the person who always shows up, always helps, always says yes. And there is beauty in generosity. There is genuine goodness in showing up for others. But there is a version of yes that is not generosity. It is fear. Fear of disappointing someone. Fear of being seen as selfish. Fear of missing out. Fear of not being needed. And every time you say yes out of fear, you are saying no to something else. You are saying no to your rest, no to your focus, no to the project that has been waiting for you for months, no to the version of yourself that could exist if you simply had more space to grow. Derek Sivers, entrepreneur and author, has a rule that I love deeply. He says, if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. Read that again. If it's not a hell yes, it's a no. Not a maybe, not a let me think about it, not a reluctant, guilt-driven, resentful yes. If something doesn't light you up, if it doesn't align with your top priorities, if it doesn't move you meaningfully toward the life you actually want, the answer is no. Kindly, graciously, without lengthy explanation, but firmly, every time. The second promise is, I will protect my yes by using my no. Promise 3. I will rest without guilt. This is the promise that our culture makes the hardest, because somewhere along the way, we decided that rest needed to be earned, that you could only truly relax after you had done enough, produced enough, achieved enough. But enough in our culture is a moving target that never stops moving. There is always more to do, always another email, always another goal, always someone somewhere doing more than you. And so the rest never comes. Or it comes as collapse, as burnout, as illness, as the forced rest that happens when your body finally refuses to go any further. I want to offer you a different idea. Rest is not the reward for finished work. Rest is part of the work itself. Athletes know this. Elite performers know this. The greatest musicians, writers, and thinkers in history knew this. Beethoven took long afternoon walks, not to waste time, but because he understood that the walk was where the music was born. Charles Darwin worked only 4.5 hours a day, deliberately focused hours, and changed our understanding of life on Earth forever. Maya Angelou checked into a hotel room when she wrote with nothing but a Bible, a deck of cards, and a legal pad, and created literature that will outlive us all. None of them were doing more. All of them were doing exactly enough. The third promise is, I will rest without guilt, because my rest is an investment in everything I do when I'm awake. The 5-minute clarity habit. Before I bring this audiobook to a close, I want to give you one practical tool. It takes less than 5 minutes. You can do it tonight. It is called the daily subtraction practice.
At the end of each day, before you sleep, take a piece of paper or open a note on your phone. Write down everything you did that day. Then go through that list and ask honestly for each item. Did this move me toward the life I actually want? Not the life someone else expects from you, not the life that looks impressive on the outside, the life you actually want. If the answer is yes, keep it, protect it, do more of it. If the answer is no, ask yourself one question. Does this need to be done by me? Does it need to be done at all? You will be surprised how many things on your list were never truly yours to carry. Do this every night for 2 weeks. Watch what happens to your days. The most courageous choice. I want to close with this. In a world that glorifies more, choosing less is an act of courage. It means trusting yourself enough to go deep instead of wide, to value quality over quantity, to believe that your focused, rested, intentional self is more powerful than your exhausted, scattered, constantly doing self. It means being willing to disappoint some people in the short term so that you can show up fully for the things and people that matter most in the long term. You were not put on this earth to be busy. You were put here to matter. And you cannot matter to anyone, including yourself, if you have given every piece of yourself away to everything and everyone you asked. So here is my challenge to you. Tonight, before you go to sleep, choose one thing to subtract, one commitment, one habit, one distraction, one obligation you said yes to for the wrong reasons. Just one. And in the space that creates, notice what begins to grow. Because nature does not leave empty spaces empty for long, and neither will you. Thank you for listening. Take care of yourself. Do less.